Hey everyone, Merry Meet. This is Anastasia Autumnfire, and today is the 22nd day of my 30 days of Samhain crafting. Tonight, I made another kind of whimsical, nerdy inspiration craft. It is a witchy orb using the archetype loosely of Winnifred Sanderson from Hocus Pocus. Now, Winnifred Sanderson from Hocus Pocus is probably one of my favorite characters. However, she is a bit villainous. She definitely uses her power for negative and self-gain and all that jazz. Sorry, I'm just going to move the camera real quick. When dealing with her, it's definitely about what will help her in the long run versus what will help others in the long run. This orb is not in that, not in that spirit, but more so in her knowledge, her power. She was a very powerful character. She's a very powerful witch. And while I would not use power or knowledge the way she did, the amount of power and knowledge she had was actually pretty damned impressive if you think about it. And the thing that I liked about her, among other things, was when she wanted something, she would do pretty much anything to get it. And while, again, she brought it to a dark place, and that is not my intent in this craft, I do look at that wanting to dedicate myself to a project, wanting to learn more, wanting to be that student that just puts the nose to the grindstone and works. That is the energy from that archetype that I want to pull into this. I used I actually kind of went more of a gree bag with this, even though it's a witchy orb as opposed to an actual bag. But I used a combination of, I didn't use any animal, but mineral and herb and some oil to create this. I have vervain, cinnamon, dragon's blood, mint. Now, I do want to say a little bit about mint. If you'll notice, vervain, cinnamon, dragon's blood, they all are about adding power to a craft. Vervain you can add in there for multiple reasons, but it amps up the spell in and of itself. Cinnamon is just this amazing all-around herb. You've got protection, you've got love, you've got healing, but it also heightens the energy in the mixture. Dragon's blood, again, is very good for a power amplifier. And then you get to mint, and mint isn't really known to amplify powers. It is about positivity, it is about warmth, it is about love and happiness, and kind of calm and easing things as well. So it might seem odd to add it to a blend that's about energizing and amping things up, but it was a personal choice. I see it very much tied to prosperity and success and the elements of, you know, the happiness and love that it incorporates also is a really great energy to put into this. So that's why I added it. I wanted the prosperity, I wanted the abundance, and having a bit of calm in the midst of a lot of energy I think is a pretty good thing too. I also put rose petals in there. Rose, again, I haven't really read that it's a power amplifier. I've heard some people refer to it as a very energetic flower. I myself have put it on my altars before and noticed when I have roses on my altar as opposed to any other flower, I do get this surge of energy. So again, that was kind of a personal choice on my side. And then we have anise, thyme, and then I added some of my moon oil that I made this last full moon, so during the blood moon lunar eclipse. That's all about, not only is the power amped up with that, but it also is about new beginnings and opening yourself and embracing change and really taking on these fruits of your labors. And that is an energy that I definitely see in Winnifred. She's not afraid to claim that which is hers. And although I'm making this orb for a friend of mine, I see a lot of myself in him as well. We're both kind of just newly dedicated to our path. We've been on our path for a while, but we both, actually this last full moon during the blood moon lunar eclipse, he sent me a shout right afterwards saying, I did my dedication, and I sent him one saying I did mine too. So there's a lot of parallels between his path and mine. And so whenever I craft him something, I can easily say, okay, would I like this? Is this an energy I want to work with? And I know it's something he'd be jazzed about too. So that opening and that reaping the rewards from our labors is something that's very important in this. I also added a triple goddess oil that I made. I believe it was the full moon right before Lunasa was a blue moon. And it said in the blue moon you can access the triple goddess energies. So the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So I made an oil that night as well and added that in there because I think having the goddess in all your crafting is very good. But especially when you're trying to gain knowledge and focus and kind of get that heightened spiritual awareness, having her aid in that is so important in all of her forms. And then I have calendula, or calendula, I'm sorry, no, it's calendula, which is said to, again, kind of heighten the psychic vibration, and it also helps with granting wishes, and that's very good in a prosperity orb, which this is sort of about, except it's about studying and focusing on obtaining power through knowledge. And then I also added a lodestone with some lodestone food that's said to attract energy or bring energy into a spell. And then citrine, which is I love citrine as a charging stone, as an energy stone. It's great for abundance, great for prosperity, and it also works with solar energy. So good things all around. Then I did something a little different. Oh, I almost forgot. I also added 3 star anise in here. Star anise, again, heightens psychic vibrations. I added 3, 1 for maiden, 1 for mother, 1 for crone. Oh my goodness, I totally gave the wrong association just now. I'm sorry. 1 for the Lord, 1 for the lady, 1 for the good folk. Yikes, I can't believe I just slipped like that. Sorry about that. And then I have 4 of my Samhain crystal chips. I've got carnelian, I've got amethyst, my clear quartz, and my onyx. All 4, each one to represent an element of the earth. And all of them are great energies to have in a blend like this. So after putting the blend into my witchy orb, I then took a different approach. I've never dripped wax on the outside of an orb before, and I kind of like it. I loved the process of doing it. I love the energy that it kind of gives. I love the look that it gives, kind of an artsy, fun look. And I did use colors that were associated with Winnifred Sanderson. We've got the green, black, and the gold. But I also liked their magical correspondences. Green I would use for growth, transformation, a bit of healing, because I think every time you're gaining knowledge, gaining power through knowledge, there's an element of healing, because you find perhaps what you thought was correct isn't correct, or you kind of have to break things down and rebuild. So healing is always important. Can't remember if I said growth. Fertility, prosperity, abundance. Fertility not so much in the reproductive sense, but more in the fertility of mind, fertility of spirit. Just hoping that these thoughts and these processes will take root and grow. Then you have black for protection, black for banishing negativity. We want to, nurture that positive energy. We want to get rid of the negative and the self-doubt. It also is very much a power of amplifying, or a color for amplifying power. So I like that. And then we have gold, and the gold is for prosperity. Gold is for abundance. Gold is for, again, energizing and motivation. And again, kind of accessing those solar energies in the physical realm and putting them to use in the spiritual. Here I wrote in, again, my lovely witch's alphabet because I adore it. I actually originally wrote it in just English, and I kept looking at it going, nope, it should have been witch's alphabet. So I found some rubbing alcohol and fixed it. Thank goodness. So in witch's alphabet, it says, I put a spell on you, which if you watch Hocus Pocus, you know Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker, although I'm pretty sure Kathy Najimy and Sarah Jessica Parker's vocals are not their own in that song, at least. I know Sarah Jessica Parker does sing the other song, but Bette Midler at the very least sings I Put a Spell on You, and it's wonderfully horrible. Like, just looking at the lyrics, it's just, oh my gosh, that's terrible, but she's amazing. And yeah, and then I added, so I liked the idea of tying it in with the character in that moment. She's certainly showing her power, showing her knowledge, she is accessing every bit of her essence in that scene. Again, not in the most positive of ways, but magic is magic. It's up to the user how it comes out. So yeah, I love that scene, and I think that perfectly works here, because this orb is to when my buddy is losing focus, when he's feeling like he might need to shift from his path for whatever reason, he can look at this, and hopefully the orb will help kind of reel him back to his path and serve as a guiding light of sorts. And then, of course, I forgot to put glitter on the inside of my witchy orb, so I put it on the outside this time. And I just sprinkled it with some green. And I did try to add some black, but oddly enough, the black I don't think really stuck, but the green is sticking like nobody's business. So I am taking it that's how it should be. So yeah, so that is my Winnifred Sanderson Witchy Orb. And you know, the lesson I learned with this, I'm trying to add with all these craftings, the lessons that I'm learning. With this one, it was all about, even though it's a whimsical and just kind of a fun idea, and really it's just a little fun witchy gift to give to a buddy, and I know he loves Hocus Pocus, I know he loves Bette Midler, I know he loves Winnifred. In fact, I'm pretty sure he sang I Put a Spell on You the other night at the karaoke place. It just, even though it's kind of a fun, I don't want to say frivolous, but just kind of a fun little craft, the intent behind it, the purpose behind it, the inspiration, the energies that I'm wanting to reach with this are so connected, are so spiritual, are so important, and they resonate so much with me. And finding a whimsical way of putting them into working helps make them more accessible. It's not that it lessens their power. If anything, I think it amplifies it, because normally I would look at, I need to craft something for someone to help them on their path. I'm not the person to do that. I don't necessarily know what I'm doing half the time. I'm not the most confident with my spell working yet, because you need an enormous amount of self-confidence, and sometimes that wavers. And on those nights I don't do anything because I don't want anything to backfire on me. But But when you put it in terms of, okay, I'm going to work with an archetype here. I'm going to work with this character. And although this character may not be very witchy or very powerful, or perhaps they are very witchy and powerful, but not in a way you'd like, it's about perspective. It's about looking at it and seeing what you can take from it, what you can pull from it. And once you start accessing that energy in that frame of mind, in that way, you can reach any theme. You can work with any energy. Everything is accessible. You have every bit of power within you. You just need to find a way that you can relate to it. And for me, my little nerdy inspirations are so dear to me, and they're so ingrained in me. They are so much who I am. And that's why, because they help me access these lofty ideals that I look at and go, there's no way I can reach that. There's no way I can even think about that. Because if I start to really meditate on these concepts, on these thoughts, I'm going to be lost in thought the entire night and get nothing accomplished. But having a visual, having a person or a character or a idea, a theme to kind of work with, it helps keep me focused. It helps keep it within the realm of possibility. It makes it within my reach, if that makes sense. And so I don't see any craft as being silly or frivolous, really. There are some that perhaps the spiritual meaning isn't as apparent as others, like my protection spike, my key to the unknown. All those things you can look at and go, wow, yeah, that's witchy. But something like this you could look at and go, okay, well, that's a bit of fun. But the reality is the spiritual intent and power and application of it is just as witchy as my protection spike, or as my key to the unknown, or any sort of blend that I've ever made, any candle I've ever made. Sometimes the fun crafts connect you to divinity even stronger than the crafts that are apparent, are just advertly. No, that's not the right word. I'm struggling with words tonight. I apologize. The ones that are, for lack of a better phrase, this is not the word I want to use, but I can't think of the right word right now. The ones that are obviously spiritual, the ones that you can look at and just go, wow, yeah, that's deep. They're still very spiritual. There's still a connection there, but sometimes the ones that are kind of tongue-in-cheek or based off of a childhood movie or story, they hold such a deep place within me that those crafts take on a completely different meaning that I don't know that anyone will fully understand, because they're not me. So whenever we're crafting, it kind of goes back to that offering shell for the good folk. Pretty Alice Moon, I know, commented saying there's no craft that's insignificant as long as it has meaning for you. It has all the significance in the world. Although something can be made kind of tongue-in-cheek or kind of in a lighter frame of mind, doesn't take away the deepness that it can give you. So I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I'm planning on making a transformation oil. It's something that's been on the docket all week, but I keep waiting for the right energy. And tomorrow, I think the moon is going to shift to, oh my goodness, I just lost it. We're in Aquarius now. We're shifting, and I am blanking completely. Not Gemini. Anyway, I'll double check on that. But we're shifting to an area of love and of putting away mind and emotion and just accessing that spiritual self. And that's definitely where I want to be to make this this oil. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Many blessings as always. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.